Jamaal Bethea here with the Clutch Report. Just another episode of Jamaal Reacts. The Golden State Warriors have been an interesting story this season. Started off hot, had a long stretch of being mediocre, seem to have taken an uptick lately, but of course with Steph Curry getting injured, nothing serious, clean MRI. They're going to reevaluate him Monday. I love Stephen Curry. He's one of my favorite players ever. I hope he's fine. I hope he has a speedy recovery, and it seems like he will be able to. But this is a very interesting conversation. Just, do the Warriors rely too much on Stephen Curry? Of course, I think anybody would go, duh, yes, in the video. But we're going to see what they say about it, and I'm going to give my opinion.
And Golden State couldn't get it done against the Nuggets last night, who were playing without Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Steph Curry had an off-shooting night, only making 6 of his 21 shots and adding 7 turnovers. Post-game, Steve Kerr had a simple explanation for Curry's struggles. Steve.
He's exhausted right now, so we've got to absolutely consider giving him a night. And
when your head coach flat out says my star player is exhausted, that's not a good sign. Like, I had the Warriors possibly being a playoff disruptor, but he's literally saying he's just tired. Like, with all of the talk of load management and how it's hurt the NBA and the fans can't come see their favorite players and yada yada blase blase, there's clearly a space for load management. He just said he's exhausted. Like, and I mean, Stephen Curry, what is this, season 16? Your star being exhausted in season 16 is a terrible thing to hear at this point in the season, because the playoffs are about 3 weeks away. Like, they're not far away.
Getting him rejuvenated for the sake of him and our, the remainder of our games, but we'll see. But I think he's been tired the last few games, and so we've got to find a way to get him his juice back.
All right, so Steph needing a little rest. Stephen, do you feel like the Warriors are putting too much on him, relying on him too much?
Well, I've always felt that way, and it dissipated to some degree once Jimmy Butler arrived. And the reason why I bring up Jimmy Butler's penchant for getting to the free throw line, as Shannon has brought up, that I have said on several occasions, is because when you get to the free throw line, you're able to provide yourself and your teammates rest. And in Steph Curry's case, he absolutely needs that. The guy is 37 years of age. He runs around all the time. Obviously, he's the ultimate marksman the game has ever seen. And Steve Kerr knows that better than anybody, because he's made Steve Kerr the coach that he is.
He has the longest streak of consecutive games played this season at 22 in a row. The second longest streak is 11. You see it on your screen. Old school NBA fans will be like, so what? Jordan played 82. Crybaby. Blah, blah, blah. Stephen Curry does not have the luxury to be out of a play and just rest. And when I say out of a play, Kobe talked about Michael Jordan teaching him how to sometimes just be on the weak side while the play is happening on the strong side. And just, even though you're on the court, you can kind of put your hands on your legs and kind of just bend over, hunch your back or something, and just kind of rest and relax and, kind of take a couple breaths. He doesn't have that luxury. If he's on the court, they need him to win. So this 22 game straight play is not, oh, it's new school basketball and in old school they played more games and who cares? No. This is 22 games in a row of being the main and sometimes only serious offensive threat on the court. That's exhausting.
And so when you take all of those things into consideration, one must say, all right, how much can one individual take? He's 6'3", he's not 6'9", he can't post anybody up, all right, can't play with his back to the basket and score points in the lane and stuff like that. He makes his money, shooting the basketball, getting open enough to shoot the basketball, creating space for himself, moving around without the basketball, out conditioning everybody. And when you put that kind of load on him, where he's the guy you're constantly looking for, he's only human. One got to ask themselves, how long can you last? And I think that, they've tried, they went out and got him help. And I think it's gone a long way for them, so credit to the Golden State Warriors organization. But it doesn't negate the fact that there was entirely too much on his shoulders. And even Draymond alluded to that when he talked about how Steph was just, I don't want to put words in his mouth because I don't remember exactly what he said, but he talked about how it was a lot on him and it was clearly wearing him down until they got Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler revitalized them. It still doesn't negate the fact that everything goes through Steph Curry, and it's a lot to put on his shoulders. So I don't think that Steve Kerr was exaggerating about that at all.
I have another video where I talk about the fact that if I was the Warriors, I don't know if the Heat would have gone for it, but I would have tried to get Bam Adebayo too. I'm going to keep Stephen Curry. You're going to give me Jimmy. I almost would have told them, you can take whoever on this roster. Give me Jimmy and give me Bam. Because Bam is another guy like Draymond. He can initiate offense as a center, kind of like a point center. He's not the passer that Jokic is. I'm not even saying he's the passer Draymond is, but as far as archetype. And Bam is only averaging 16 shots a game. He's scoring 20, 10, and 5 this year, right? So my point is, Bam Adebayo is young enough. He is team savvy enough. He's intelligent enough to be able to help the team. Sometimes, I just think Stephen Curry needs more help on his team to give him rest while he's on the court. If you had Jimmy, Bam, and Steph, I think this will be a much different Golden State Warriors team, and I think they will be a much bigger threat postseason time. But right now, I feel like if Steph doesn't do it, it doesn't happen. And we have all seen, of course, say it with me, LeBron James. We've seen him do that most of his career. If he didn't do it, it didn't happen. You can't really win like that. And I think that's the problem with the Golden State Warriors. Jimmy is great. He's a two-way threat. He gives you what you need on both sides of the ball. But he doesn't bring enough offensive scoring or facilitating to really drastically reduce Steph's role on the team as far as importance, where he can just rest and chill. They still need somebody else to like offset Stephen Curry's necessity, almost on a play-by-play basis, to be involved for them to score.
If you're talking about mental or physical fatigue, because he's playing the fewest minutes since 2017, 2018. Also, his 18 shot attempts, that's what his career average is, 18 shot attempts a game. Everything, for the most part, rebounds and assists are what they are. So are you saying he's mentally or physically fatigued? Stephen A., isn't that what we ask of our superstars? Is to put that burden? I never remember you having this when we was talking about Goat James. You never said he was tired. You never said he needed a rest.
That's not true. That's not true. That's false. I'm very disappointed because it shows you wasn't watching me as much as I thought you did. There have been times when I've said that. As a matter of fact,
Yo, I love Unc, yo, but like, as big a LeBron fan as I am, Unc is terrible. He gonna bring up LeBron at some point, and I do it too. But I honestly, in this very video, I kind of did it. I talked about LeBron in a different light, where it was kind of all on him to see what would happen, and I felt like Steph was kind of in a similar situation. But it's almost like the woe is me argument. I don't see y'all saying this about LeBron. It's like, okay, but we talking about Steph. Like, that's hilarious to me. I'm sorry.
Let me give you a heart attack right now. Do you know I've been on the record? Do you know I've been on the record in the past and I've gone like this? Man, stop judging LeBron from November to April. Come to me in April, May, and June. That's what his career is about. Leave that man alone. I've actually said that in the past. I know your GOAT, James. Here's what he wants.
One of y'all watching this video, go find Stephen A. saying that, and then comment in the comments what video it is. We got to verify that. We need receipts. I don't know if he's. A lot of people have said that because LeBron's the kind of player where you're really judging him off if he's getting titles. That was the same reason, like, nobody really cared if LeBron got any more regular season MVPs, because it was kind of like, he's LeBron. Technically, he's always in the MVP race. So let's just see what he does in the postseason. But somebody find receipts. I don't know if Stephen A. really said that, because he also stuttered a little bit. I said, don't. Somebody find that.
Wants to hear when he wants to hear it and doesn't hear other stuff like you do as well. Y'all go conveniently deaf at times, but these things have been said about LeBron.
All humans go conveniently deaf. Let's be real.
James.
You do realize, like when LeBron was 37, he was averaging 30 a night? You realize that, Stephen A? When he was 38, he was averaging 29 a night?
Well, he's 6'9", 260.
No, he's 6'9".
Damn.
No, he's 6'9".
They love saying LeBron 6'9", like he the first 6'9" player in the history of the sport.
Yeah, pushing people around.
I have a question, Unc. When we talk about guys who deserve a little bit of rest, we tend to go with the legends, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry. Since the opening tip back in November, who has had more help? Steph, KD, LeBron. How would you rank it?
I mean, that's easy. That's LeBron. He had Anthony Davis, and now he has Luka Doncic. On paper, come on. We all know the answer to that. I actually, before this video, I just finished doing a Phoenix Suns video. I'm going to post it. Kevin Durant's roster is pedestrian. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. That's really all you have on that roster. Grayson Allen, sharpshooter from three. Tyus Jones is having a good season efficiency-wise. But Phoenix don't have nothing. And the crazy thing is, plus minus is not a perfect stat. There isn't a perfect stat. I do think there are better ones than plus minus. But I think plus minus, take it with a grain of salt. But as a statistic, I think it holds its own value enough. And when you look at that Phoenix Suns roster, Kevin Durant's the only one in the starting lineup with a positive plus minus. Kevin Durant's one of only about 9 players on the team, including Devin Booker. He's like one of only 9 players that has a positive plus minus. And it's like 0.3. It's not even that high. And the rest of literally everybody else, they're either not starters or they don't really even play that much. So we can easily say LeBron has had the most help. But I want to see where she's going with this question.
Probably KD, because he got Book and Beal. And LeBron until he got Luka.
What was Anthony Davis? Top level?
Well, you're right.
That's
Anthony Davis.
point.
Anthony.
Thank you.
Yes.
So those other players. Hold on. I'll let you.
Not Booker and Beal. Really? Okay, Unc.
You go, big bro. I'll let you go, big bro.
Okay.
Those other players have had consistent help, especially as number 2 options. LeBron James had AD. Now he has Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Steph Curry to start the season. The first 40 or so games, he had what's the song? Nobody, baby. He really didn't have much help.
Well, if Draymond making his shot, that don't count.
First of all, it does count. He's a facilitator, but we're not saying he's a certified number 2 in the NBA, okay? He was not an all-star this year. He was right where you and I are commentating the all-star game, okay?
I've said to a lot of people, as good as Draymond really is with the things he does, he's a beneficiary of playing in Golden State. Imagine if Draymond was on, like, the Pacers. We wouldn't be talking about no damn Draymond Green. Like, he does have a high-level IQ. He's a 4-time champion, decorated Defensive Player of the Year. Give him his credit going away. I'm not even taking that from Draymond. I've learned and I've grown to like Draymond over the years. I used to hate his guts because he can't control his emotions. Don't tell me you're a rah-rah. I'm a man. No, you control your emotions. But the truth of the matter is, he's a beneficiary of playing with Steph. His skill set fit Golden State perfectly. So it's just funny to me because we've seen seasons where he was an all-star, and I'm like, if Golden State's not winning games, is Draymond an all-star this year? And lo and behold, this year, once they sputtered and that record kind of hit, like, he ain't making no all-star team.
Okay, but when I think about, Steph Curry, he has not had that help. You know, one of my favorite movies, Waiting to Exhale. He finally could start exhaling 16 games ago when Jimmy Butler came and they had a 14-2 record. And he went from 22 points and immediately you saw what some of that pressure alleviated did. He went from 22 to 28. And so, yes, this man, he's carried, I guess you can say, a heavier load than even most superstars while trying to keep them afloat. You can't negate that fact.
But we can't negate the fact that Stephen Curry is carrying a heavier load this year because in his lifetime as a player, he's had a lot more help than a lot of people. But this is what I'll say. Jimmy Butler's relief of Stephen Curry is temporary. And I only say that because playoff time, Jimmy not offensive enough to really give the Golden State Warriors the punch they need. This is where not getting Bam or like another big man that can get easy buckets hurts them. And me and my father talk about this ad nauseum. Like, Why won't Golden State get a big? They tried it one time. They got James Wiseman, who was more finesse like Chris Bosh. That wasn't what they needed. And what happened? 2 or 3 years into his career, they went ahead and God bless him and they let him go. Why won't they get a big? Go get a big. Somebody who can get easy buckets. Because one of the problems is, as a team, they have to take tough shots. Big men in the history of the sport were always viewed as the number one priority to building a championship team until Michael Jordan. And what's the reason for that? Because they're the closest to the basket. It's the easiest shot. So if Golden State had somebody giving them 18, 19 points a game, low post, and drawing attention, and Steph could now, again, like he was next to Clay and Kevin Durant at times, being the beneficiary of a kick-out pass, and he doesn't have to be a part of the offense, that would help them. Jimmy took some load off, but it's not going to be enough load to really last when you're talking playoffs. They still need another piece.
Even though he just got Jimmy Butler.
True, all that what you're saying is true, but Stephen A., Shanae, you know this. As a superstar, as a historically great player, which Steph Curry is, Steph Curry is not getting compared to guys 38. He's getting compared to a younger Steph Curry. We're looking at Steph when he was in his late 20s and early 30s. That's the comparison. It's okay if he starts to slow down for us, but that's not how we judge him. We're not judging him by other guys. We're judging him by the unanimous MVP. We're judging him when he won the other MVP. He ended up winning a championship.
Like I really just said, I think even though we can say, oh, poor Steph, he doesn't have the help. This year, in his career, he's massively had help. Come on. We got to stop. Come on. Okay, for one season, maybe not even just one, maybe for a couple seasons now, whatever. I'll check more into that, do my research, maybe I'll do another video about it. Maybe he didn't have all the help he's used to having, specifically not this year. But the point is, he's used to having another resource. Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Iggy at times, Barnes at times. He's used to having other resources. That was one of the things that hurt them with the Jordan Poole trade. Jordan Poole was the third splash brother legitimately in that 2022 championship run. You lost him. Imagine if Jordan Poole was still here.
That's what we judge him by, which is unfair. Because if we judge him by other superstars, I mean, he's averaging, 24 points a game? 24. I mean, he's right at his average as far as scoring, rebounding, and assists. But because he was younger and he was transcendently great, that's what we compare him to. But if we just look at his averages across the board, Stephen A., they really haven't dipped.
Yeah, but it's not about his averages.
4 and 6.
But it's not about his averages. It's about a coach that knows his player and paying attention. Your coach, you'll sit up there and talk about the coaches that you've played for, Shannon. They knew you. They knew what your weaknesses and what your strengths are, and they knew when you were at peak level and when you were dissipating somewhat. It may not have stopped you from going out there to.
We were talking about the Lakers getting Mark Williams from Charlotte. Maybe the Golden State Warriors should have got Mark Williams from Charlotte. They need somebody that can create easy points. That's what they're lacking. If Golden State had Mark Williams creating easy points, and I keep using this one name, and I'm going to use it again, Clint Capella. Like, imagine a Golden State rotation of, like, Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, I don't know, Jonathan Kuminga, Clint Capella, Draymond, like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody to give you easy points. Drive, toss it up. That's what James Harden used to do. Kobe was right. James Harden didn't play championship style of ball, but he won a lot in the regular season. Why? He would cross you up drive, and if he couldn't get past you, just toss it to Capella. Capella would just dunk the ball. Those oops. Like, they don't have somebody to create easy offense.
To perform, but you had to log your way through in certain situations because one week you may not have been what you were another week, and they're paid to pay attention to that stuff. This is Steve Kerr that we're talking about, a man who's he's won championships as a player. Now he's won championships as a coach, for crying out loud. He's got about 9 of them. Got about 4 with Golden State. Got about 5 as a player with Chicago and San Antonio. He's played with the greatest ever. He's coaching the greatest shooter ever. He kind kind of knows what it requires in order to make that run. So he's not looking at him just in the moment. He's forecasting what next month and the month after and the month after is going to require. And he's looking at a guy that he's been coaching all of these years and wondering what he'll have left if he doesn't manage this appropriately. So I don't have a problem with it.
Do you think that
I don't need to watch any more of the video. The truth of the matter is Stephen Curry needs more help. He needs players that can help create easy looks. They need to start really investing in bigs. They have always been anemic and pedestrian when it came to bigs. If Golden State wants to take load off of Steph and get back in the win column as far as like really competing for a title again, they need to go get some bigs. Whatever you can do in a draft and in the offseason, please do it. Yeah, that's what they need. They need bigs at this point. It's nothing else to say. This is Jamaal Reacts. Jamaal from the Clutch Report. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.